Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim CEO podcast series where amazing and influential guests share their journeys and successes with Deen being an integral part. Before we get to the episode, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as connect and follow on all of our social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok and Twitter. And the handle for all of these platforms is @MuslimCEOs. You can also listen to this podcast on all major platforms such as Spotify and Apple by searching Muslim CEOs podcast, and don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified of all future episodes. So let's be inspired and have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who will enable us to be successful in this world and the hereafter. Ameen. So Amir Malik is the CEO and founder of the Muslim Golf Association, an innovative organization dedicated to championing diversity, inclusion and community through golf. Under Amir's leadership, MGA has emerged as a groundbreaking global force transforming the lives of thousands of Muslim men, women and children by introducing them to the sport. Amir's pioneering work has attracted international recognition, with MGA prominently featured by prestigious media outlets including BBC, CNN, The Guardian and The Washington Post. MGA is internationally endorsed by the R&A and maintains influential partnerships with prestigious organizations such as the LPGA, Steph Curry's underrated tour and LIV Golf. Amir has also graced stages at major golfing events, including the Aramco Team Series and the AIG Women's Open, passionately advocating for inclusivity and representation within the sport. And he was honoured as Man of the Year at the 2023 British Muslim Awards, cementing his status as a visionary leader in community-driven initiatives. With over 17 years of professional experience in recruitment and community building roles, including a significant tenure with the global recruitment giant Michael Page. Having spent 4 transformative years living in Makkah, Amir brings unique insights and authentic cultural understanding to his work. His commitment extends beyond MGA, having previously served as a trustee for a prominent Muslim youth organization. Driven by faith, purpose, and innovation, Amir Malik continues to inspire as he elevates golf from a sport to a powerful platform for unity and positive social change. Amir Malik, Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you?
Alaikum salam rahmatullah. Yes, I'm very well. It's quite embarrassing listening to that on this side.
Well,
So,
mashallah,
but no.
No, mashallah, you shouldn't be embarrassed. It's actually quite inspiring. You've done a lot so quickly. I mean, you've been on BBC, you've been on CNN. One thing you didn't say, you've also been on Sky Sports, which inshallah we're going to talk about. But I suppose, firstly, I'd want to ask, in the introduction, you obviously had a long career in recruitment. What triggered you to kind of get into golf and then obviously move away from recruitment and set up MGA?
Awesome. Well, look, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I'm genuinely honoured and I'm buzzing to be speaking to you today. So thanks for that. Look, I fell into recruitment, right, as most people do. I never went to university thinking I'd be a recruiter, but I did. And, you know, I'm a big believer that Allah really puts you into positions and he's preparing you for something bigger a little bit later. And I think everything that I learned in recruitment, I'm now using as an entrepreneur and the founder of the MGA. The skill set that I accumulated, alhamdulillah, are tools that I'm using on a daily basis. And I think, God, if it wasn't for that journey, I don't think I'd been able to achieve what I did with MGA. How did I get into golf? Look, I grew up in a household playing sports. I'm one of 4 siblings. I've got 2 older brothers. There's 15 years difference between me and my next sibling, for example, who, and we always played sport, but I was always, you know, either the goalkeeper or the one who was always doing the bowling or whatever it would be. But anything with the ball, I was always fascinated with. But golf, no one in my family, social circle, community played. And I certainly didn't have the courage to go to a golf course and say, can I play? I mean, it was hard enough doing that at cricket. I remember my first cricket club, I was like, am I good enough? And it's only when you get there, you realize everyone else isn't very good. They're actually quite rubbish. And I should have done this earlier. And I guess what happened was I joined a very small recruitment company. In fact, my first company. And it was with an Indian Sikh guy, really, really smart fella. And he says, Amir, do you fancy playing golf? And I was working in the city. I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. We went to a driving range. Before we know it, I'm on a golf course. And it's when I hit that first sweetly struck shot out the middle, and I just got this really tingling feeling. And I thought, oh my God, where has this game been all my life? Why hasn't anyone introduced it to me any sooner? I went back and I told my very close friends, I said, guys, we need to get into this. We've got to play. And that's really where the journey started, right? We ended up going from a pitch and putt to municipal courses. Then we're going on to quote unquote real golf courses before you know it on golf holidays. And yeah, and if I look back at my life now, golf has changed my life because I changed careers because of what it did to me. So that's how and when it started, really. And I've
I
only
mean,
been playing 11, 12 years, by the way, right? So it's only a very short period of time. And I picked it up in my late 20s, early 30s.
okay, Amir, that story resonates, I think, not only with me, but I'm sure a lot of other golfers out there as well. And you know what? It's hard to explain to a non-golfer the joy you get in just being able to hit a very, very small ball 200-300 yards, and the joy that you get that it's hit sweetly, it's gone straight, it's gone exactly where you've imagined that you want it to go. And to feel that feeling, it's difficult to explain to non-golfers, but I totally get what you're saying. And your story kind of very similar to mine. But mine's not years of golf. I'm in the months. I've probably been like half a year of playing golf as we're speaking. And like you said, I'm thinking, I'm 41. Where was this game before? Similar to myself, my dad would play cricket. My dad would get me into cricket. But when we was younger, maybe it was an Asian thing or a class thing or whatever, but we
Yeah.
never ever really thought of golf. Going into schools, it was very much football, cricket, football, cricket. If you socialize with friends, it might be let's go and play snooker or pool. Golf was just never ever,
Yeah.
never ever a consideration. But I don't know. I don't know whether you also find it as well, but with golf, I think when I started playing football, when I started playing cricket, I don't think I was ever as hooked or passionate or
Well,
really into those sports as much as I am into golf.
yeah, it's a drug. It's an addiction. That's exactly what it is. I can't, and it's a really bad example, but I can't describe it in any other way. It turns grown men into little boys. Logic goes out the window. It's incredible, but there's no sport, and like you, I've played pretty much most sports. There's no sport that you go to bed at night thinking of and wake up the next morning. The first thing you want to do is just get back out on that golf course and play it. Doesn't matter whether you've taken 5 wickets, scored a century, scored a hat trick, played the best game of your life. There is no way after a game of football you want to get up the next morning and think, right, let's go hit it again, because you'll be aching, whatever, and so on and so forth. But that adrenaline isn't there. But golf, and the crazy thing about it is that you can have 17 holes of really poor golf, but it takes one hole, one shot, and you think, I've got it, I've cracked it, that's it. But the game's over, and you're like, okay, I need to come back. I think I've clocked it, and then that's what brings you back, and it does you time and time and time again. And I think I came up with a bit of a saying. We were just sitting at my friend's house. We even had an iftar, but the whole iftar was about golf. Right? It's crazy. It starts off going really civilized, right? And then it just goes into utter chaos with golf because the players are on. And then you hear of stories of people of this and that. And I said, listen, you don't leave golf, golf leaves you. So at any point that you think you're going to give this game up or you've had enough, right? I promise you it will bring you back in. But unfortunately, you don't get to choose when to leave the game, but the game will constantly leave you. But yeah, and I think the last thing I'd say on that is when you get into it, you'd wish you'd picked it up sooner. And and I continuously say that to people when they're a little bit later in life. They said, oh, I'll pick it up when I'm older, or I'll stop playing cricket. And I said, listen, you are going to regret that you didn't play this game sooner. So while you've got the chance, just get out, try it, do it.
No, 100%. I mean, I've started golf with 3 other mates. We're in a WhatsApp group. And I think since we've started, there's not been one day where A, we've not spoken in that group, and 2, we've not either spoken about golf or we've shared memes or YouTube videos. It's literally like you know, it is constant, and we've even joked that we see each other more than we see our wives and our children, our
Uh,
partners, sort of thing. And like 6 months in, we've already planned a golf holiday. We're all going to go,
yeah.
inshallah, on this year to Pakistan and play in Lahore. And it's just, you're right. It's kind of taken over in a way that we never envisaged.
Yeah, so you're finished. You're done. Your life's over in that sense, right? Just resign to that fact, and you'll be in a better place. And but the only thing I'd say to you as well, Omar, is I will now, inshallah, introduce you to thousands of other guys just like us that are completely addicted, love the game, uh, yet you know, are Muslim, and you know, their faith's important, but are just absolutely obsessed by the game. And I think that is what I love about the MGA, and I've now seen this across the world. Okay,
Yeah,
and why the MGA? And I think someone summed this up, and he was an American, and his name's Ahmed, and I met him in Turkey when we went to Turkey, and he said, "Bro, when I heard about the MGA, he goes, the two most important things in my life came together. He goes, Islam and golf." Right? Because I couldn't have thought of anything more magical. And obviously Islam encompasses family, your wife, your kids, right? It's holistic. But I think and for me that was probably MGA. That just sums it up. And there's 1.9 billion Muslims out there, right? And the more I get involved in this game, the more I play it, the more it resonates with me from a faith perspective, its etiquettes, its traditions, everything about the game, subhanAllah, bro, it is just so intertwined with Islam. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And more importantly, through the programs that we've done, is that it's the perfect sport, I think, for Muslim men, women, children, and those with disability. We've proven that a woman wearing full niqab, the only thing you see is her eyes, don't even have to see her eyes, bro, she can play golf. And she should play golf. It's a
yeah,
non-contact sport. She can swing freely. She wears whatever she wants. Okay. She'll go out and she'll get 10,000 steps. More importantly, you are in the most stunning of places, of Allah's creations, right? You are outside. We've all seen the benefit from a mental health perspective. And more importantly, you can travel the world, right? Golf courses are everywhere in the world. They're in the most beautiful, beautiful parts. Alhamdulillah, I've been very fortunate enough to play some stunning places. And what excites me is there is so much to discover. But you're standing there, and I'm a city boy. Right? I grew up in London. I chased money. I love tall buildings. I love skylines. Right? You know, that is why I wanted to work in London. You come out the tube station. You're in the city. You smell money. You see it. I was obsessed by it. Tell me to go for a walk, no chance. Right? Tell me to go for a run in the park. You've got no chance. Now I see anything green. I have the sixth radar. I can spot a golf course a mile off, and it has now become my happy place, right? It was an incident yesterday. I wanted to just go out and do some work. I left a meeting, and I thought, where shall I go? Obviously, I'm fasting. I didn't want to go to a coffee shop, but I just thought, I'm going to go to a golf club. Right? I just want to sit there. I just want to be surrounded by greenery because it just makes you breathe and feel so much better. I play on my own when my friends are busy. I think I dropped my wife off the other day. She had an exam, and I thought, what am I going to do? I found a 9-hole golf course, and I just got all giddy and excited. I'm like, right, that's it, my golf club's. And I was on my own, and for the next hour and a half, I just switched off, right? And so I just want to share that experience, that sensation, right, with the Muslim world, and say, look, it's a generational game, it's a family game, it's a game of class, it's a game of etiquette, and it intertwines with our faith, and we need to own it.
just to kind of expand on that, Amir. So, what was that trigger then that made you say, okay, let's start the Muslim Golf Association, and then how did you go about it, and what was your vision for it, and has that vision changed as now more and more people are getting involved, more Muslims are getting involved, more women are getting involved?
Yeah, great question. I think it's very similar to yourself, Omar. The journey that you will now go on is exactly the footsteps I went on, right, and traded on. And for me, what it was also, and probably one of the biggest turning points, is actually when we went on a golf holiday with my friends, and I was very lucky that I had amazing friends who, you know, really brought me closer to my Deen, and you know, We know that you are upon the dean of those that are closest to you, right? And when we would go abroad, and because we'd have such busy times, we'd only go for 3-4 days. But bro, we would pray together, play together, eat together. And when we would pray, we would just give each other a very small reminder, right? Just a reflection on life or a pertinent point that would just reconfigure and bring you back. And I came away from those holidays and those trips with my iman boosted, right? I'd played incredible golf. I'd been in nature. I'd seen some great cities, but I was in great company, and I was also reminded of Allah. And I was doing that while playing golf. And I just thought, oh my God, this is phenomenal. We can't keep this to ourselves. I need to share this with the world. And the more that I also traveled across the UK, I started coming across pockets of Muslim guys that would talk about golf. It's like you, right? I haven't known you. We've only got to know each other for the last couple of wees. But we could have met at a function, an event, or wedding. And before you know it, I would have heard the word golf and I would have been all over you like a rash, right? And what I would have been talking to you, and I'd been saying, listen, we need to play, right? Doesn't matter if you're in Birmingham, in Luton, we would have gone and we would have met and we would have played. And I was coming across loads of these guys and I thought, wow, this is weird. How many guys, Muslim guys, are there that play? Because the only thing we're supposed to play is football, cricket, and that's about it, right? After 40, you give it up. And just as a side point, and the other thing that triggered me was someone said to me, so what's your handicap? And back then I didn't have an official handicap. I said, I don't know, it's 16, 17. And he goes, well, you're not a proper golfer. And that stung me. And I thought, what? I've got all the gear. I love the game. Why am I not a proper golfer? And he said, because you don't have a handicap. And back then you had to join a golf club. So I then plucked up the courage and thought, Jolo, now's the time. Let's go join a golf club. And when I did, that's when I started seeing the really ugly side of golf, right? I saw that golf was actually full of alcohol. It was full of gambling. And there's a lot of covert racism, especially when you start going to better and finer establishments. But yet I was hooked. I was in love with this game. It changed my life. And I thought there's got to be a different way. Now, coupled with the fact that I'm coming across Muslim guys, I'm thinking, I wonder how many they are. And I then decided to hold a charity golf day. My brother was working for Reed Foundation. I said, listen, why don't we do a charity golf day? Worst case scenario, we'll raise a little bit of money, inshallah, for some orphan kids. But more importantly, what I can also use it as an experiment to see how many Muslims are there that play this game. So I remember vividly, I launched on December the 25th, Christmas Day, because I thought it's the only day that Asians are off, even the taxi drivers, right? In 2019, I created the website, did everything, and I decided to hold a golf day at the Grove. And the Grove is really cool because it's a stunning venue. Hospitality is amazing. But more importantly, Tiger Woods has played there. And actually, you can go on the course and you can see plaques of where he hits certain shots. So it's an incredible place. I thought, Jolo, let's do it there. I gave myself 6 months to sell 72 spaces because that's how many you need to take over the golf course. And I thought, we should get close in 6 months. When I launched on 24 hours, Christmas Day, we sold out.
Wow.
Now, you'll know, having been involved in the Muslim world, in events, we don't buy anything, we don't pay for anything, and we are very last minute. To then have 72 guys sign up and pay for an event 6 months in advance, and it wasn't cheap, it was about 130, 140 quid. I was like, oh my lord. I remember I was at a halakha in Banbury, and my phone was just pinging. I'm like, what is going on here, right? Someone's bought the ticket, someone's bought a ticket. And this was all spread through WhatsApp. A week later, I had about 80, 90 guys on a waiting list. And I just thought, this is incredible, right? Okay. 6 months later, we did the event. Actually, COVID hit. So we pushed the event. I think it was meant to be in June or July. We pushed it to August. We had the social distancing. We raised about 18, 19,000 pounds, alhamdulillah, for the charity. But for me, I now had a platform where we got 70 odd guys together from across the country on our values. No alcohol, no gambling, and we create a safe space for people to pray. Bro, if you ever go to the Grove, you'll see outside near the turning circle in the entrance, we had 60, 70 guys making Jama'ah, right? The Grove had never seen anything like it. And that for me was probably a defining moment in my life, because that spurred me on to, right, how far can we take this? And I guess the vision, I look at it back and I laugh and I thought, well, let's see how far we can go. But if I'm honest, the vision is very simple. Is I want to introduce golf to every Muslim man, woman, child, abled and disabled, period.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. I mean, that's just such an amazing story and journey. And you know what? If 2019 a message like that came to me as a Muslim to come and play golf, I would have just deleted it. I would have just ignored it, and I probably would have maybe put kind of turned my back around it and just thinking that's just totally the wrong audience that you're trying to, what Muslims would actually play.
Right.
But now it's like you said, I'd be all over it. I'd definitely be all over it as well. So do you find, so from your journey from there, Amir, and now obviously you've got the Muslim Golf Association, I've seen that you've done the holidays, etc., etc. You want to get more men, women, children, able, disabled into it, sort of thing. But golf generally has that, whether you want to call it a stereotype, it's seen for the higher classes, for the rich,
Cool.
famous, for people of for higher social status, sort of thing. And Muslims sometimes, we're taught as we be humble, that everyone's equal, that we shouldn't really have those sort of statuses. Have you found breaking those barriers, one, just generally within the golf community, but B, also for Muslims to really get into golf? Have you found those barriers? Have you been able to break down those barriers, or do you actually still find that actually it's probably the rich and the elite in the Muslim community that come forward and play golf?
Yeah, it's a great question. And look, I came from a very working class background, right? And that's probably one of the reasons why golf was never really available to me, because it has, unfortunately for me, golf has dug its own grave, is that it has always been seen to be an elitist and an expensive sport, and it shouldn't be, and it doesn't need to be. Okay, golf actually isn't that expensive. It can be if you want it to be, but I always use the example, so can cycling, right? Once you get into cycling.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you can buy £100 set of clubs, or you can buy £1,000 set of clubs, depending on the brand. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's the same with cycling, right? You can get yourself £100 or even a free bike, but once you get into racing, you're spending 5, 6, 7 grand on a bike ride. So it's all relative. However, what golf is I see it's the only sport that's played by C-level executives and the upper echelons of society. And for me, even more so, isn't just the health benefits of golf. We can talk about that at another point. But actually, from a professional perspective, this is a life skill. This is as good as public speaking or being an Excel maestro or learning to code. I would genuinely put it out there as a life skill that will help and propel and accelerate your career. And to, without going into too much detail, I'll give you a very simple example that I always now start using is the two most powerful people in the Western world from America was Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And most recently, when they were having their live debates, I mean, it descended into chaos, but they were actually ended up jockeying about who has the better handicap, right? Who has the better golf handicap and who is a better golfer. And joking aside, and you might be a throwaway comment, but actually, if you consider that sport is played in those corridors of power, shows you that if you do not play this game, you will never have access, or you will never be able to influence at that level. And what makes golf even more appealing is you'll know as a man of business that whenever you have a meeting or you're going out to see a client in anything, the most you'll ever do is go for dinner, right? You might spend an hour. If you're lucky, you might spend 2 hours, but most meetings last anything from 45 minutes to an hour. It's a coffee. It's very formal. It's bang, bang, bang. I like you. You like me. We move on. Now imagine you throw this meeting onto a golf course. And now I've really started to understand why business happens on a golf course. Because in those times, when you go and take that meeting into a golf course, you are now outside of the four walls. You are now in open air. It's just you and that man. And in those 4 hours, you are now spending time with that individual, and you will go and see his most intimate moments. You know, you have that saying of Umar radiallahu anhu, who said that, the best way to know a man, and I'm paraphrasing, is whether you live with him, travel with him, or do business with him. I generally feel that if golf was around then, that maybe it would put into that conversation as well. But when you are playing golf with someone, not only do you get to see what they're like at their times of the low, because you'll always hit a bad shot, how do they react? You'll also see what do they do when they're in mode of ecstasy. You will get to spend time with them where you will talk much more than business. You'll actually probably get to find out their most intimate feelings on their family, on their politics, on their religions, their worldviews, about social topics, and you get to spend time with them and figure out their personality. After those 4 hours, you will then go and have probably a coffee or a bite to eat. In that period of time, you've got to know the human being. And that's what business is all about. It's all about relationship building. The best businesses, the best partnerships, and the best relationships are done by knowing the individual. That's what it's always about, and it's what you're always taught. And there is no better way to learn and to get to know someone than there is on a golf course. And on top of that, you're playing something competitively, right? So when you combine all of that, it's phenomenal. And then consider that some of the most luxurious golf courses are found with stunning clubhouses, with great menus. That's what business should be about. And so, for me, that's why it's so powerful, that as a professional, it's a skill you need to learn. And coming back to your question as to why and how is it played by those sort of upper echelons, I think it always will be. Okay, I think it always will be, just because of the status of the game. And I think it's an important skill set. And now for the Muslim world, if we consider us Muslims in the West, we are now third, fourth generation in. It's probably safe to say that those third, fourth generation Muslims are probably no longer working class. We're not the same as our parents. We're far more ambitious. We have far more higher disposable income. We are more integrated into British society. In fact, we're more British than we are maybe Pakistani, Indian, or whatever. And we are now becoming the new modern middle class, right? Which means you have time. That it's not just about wealth. It means you have time. So having time means that you can then go out and play games like golf. And we've just got to make it accessible, open the doors, and show people that you do belong. And actually, our DNA is that we're pretty good hand-eye coordination. We pick it up pretty quickly because of our cricketing roots. It almost becomes a perfect game for us.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I used to play a lot of cricket, so sometimes, like you said, the whole timing, the swing, and everything like that definitely benefited me as well. Just moving on to quickly your race to Makkah. So you recently
Yes.
launched the race to Makkah. Now,
Yeah.
being brutally honest, when I saw it and I saw the post, I saw the advertisement, I saw the mention of an opportunity to also do Umrah as well. My first thought was, okay, you are really now very, very much so mixing Deen and golf. And part of me was thinking, he's trying to sell golf, or MGA are trying to kind of entice people to go and play golf and also do Umrah. And I think the reason why I was probably thinking that is that when someone goes to do Umrah, it's a spiritual journey, and actually people only think about, okay, I'm going to Saudi and I'm going to do Makkah, I'm going to do Medina, and I'm just going to solely focus on my deen and do Umrah. To then kind of see golf thrown into it as well, it was a very bit like, okay, wow, like, are we only go to Saudi and Umrah to do Umrah, and now you're throwing golf into it. So it was very, it took me back a little bit, but now obviously I reflect on it and I was thinking, okay, that's something that I would love to do. But how did you receive that? And what was your
Sure.
thinking around actually race to Makkah and let's bring in the whole Umrah golf into one?
Yeah. As you mentioned in the introduction, I was very blessed and very fortunate to spend 4 incredible years in Makkah, right? From 2012 to 2016. And I went there on the basis that I sold everything I had in the UK. I went and worked commission only, but I just wanted to be in the Holy Land. I'd fallen in love with Makkah, right? I was lucky to do Umrah a few times, but as I said, as a city boy, the hustle and bustle, there was just something special about Makkah. That is the one city, as we all know, that doesn't sleep. And I lived there. And actually my house was not too far from Arafat. And you realize that actually that the Haram is a phenomenal place, but life still carries on, right?
Mm.
You still need to work, play, feed your family, do what you need to do. But I was fortunate enough that I could go to the Haram and perform Salah and come back, right? You don't go live their life as a monk. Islam is not to live your life as a monk. What is Islam? I don't even consider it necessarily as a modern definition of religion. It's just a universal set of values. It's a way of life, right? Our Deen teaches us from cradle to the grave how to live, how to interact, how to socially, economically, warfare, whatever it may be, there are guidelines, there are rules, okay, and they are timeless. And so, having had that experience and then golf itself, and as I said, the vision is how do we create a global platform that connects like-minded people who've got who are connected through faith and a love of golf. I want to create a connection, and the only two places in the world which any Muslim will never disagree with is going to be Makkah and Medina. And then you see this whole implosion of the Saudi sports scene, right? With Vision 2030. I mean, they have fully accelerated and opened the world to Saudi Arabia, and it's invested a much needed investment in sports like golf. And if you look at it, where we're going, inshallah, in February 2026 is the Royal Greens Golf Club. And what's fascinating is, have you done Umrah yourself?
Unfortunately, no, I haven't.
Okay. No. So again, perfect audience, right? So, and I'll come back to that point. Now, you've got Makkah, Medina, and typically people will travel from Makkah, Medina by coach, could take anything from 5 to 8 hours, sometimes dangerous, whatever it may be. But then they built the high-speed rail line. And I've done Makkah to Medina. I've done a day trip where I've gone there and come back, and it's taken 2.5 hours each way, right? I've left Makkah on the 8 o'clock train, got to Medina by 10:30. I prayed Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, had something to eat, and I'm back in Makkah by midnight, right? That was unheard of when I was living there.
Yeah.
Now, what's amazing is on that train line, it stops in a place called King Abdullah Economic City. And that city called Cape, 10 minutes from that train station, it's probably one of the world's most beautiful golf courses called the Royal Greens Golf Club that sits right on the Red Sea. Okay. And I'm like, right, from an infrastructure perspective, when I've taken people on Hajj and Umrah, logistically trying to handle people is the most difficult part. I'm thinking, oh my Lord, we could bring people to not only play this amazing golf course, but why not pop off down the road, perform the most spiritually benefiting, uplifting journey of your life, okay, and then come and play golf. Umrah takes 3 hours tops to perform. It's not like Hajj. Hajj is a 5-day process that needs to be done at a particular time. Umrah, you could do it within a couple of hours. Now, that's not demeaning it, but once you've shaved your head, right, you are now free to do what you want. So my question is that when you have then completed your Umrah, do you not go and eat? Do you not go and shop? Do you not go and do ziyarah? Yes, Makkah and Medina are phenomenal, amazing places for reflection. It's an opportunity to press the reset button. I encourage people to go multiple times a year, as long as they can, as many times as they can. However, so many other people, when they go to Makkah, Medina, they go via stopover flights. They might stop in Istanbul, Qatar, Dubai, and whatever. And they might go and have a short break. So why not play golf? And not on top of that, what I've created is that we have now created a World Series. And the plan is to create the world's largest amateur golf series, with the final culminating in Makkah, the heart of Islam. And so wouldn't it be amazing to then go and play golf with hundreds, if not thousands, of people from South Africa, Australia, South America, India, Pakistan, Malaysia, England, wherever it may be. And we are all united by our love of Islam and golf, and to spend that time and then to think about what networks could be made, what business contacts could be made. Okay. Think about your social network. For me, that is a phenomenally powerful concept that no one else can have. And we will be the first to combine sport and faith, but show it goes hand in hand. And that is why we have done the race to Makkah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you know what? I love the passion. I love the passion that you're sharing, that journey sort of thing. And I totally get it now. I think initially when I looked at it and I thought it, and I thought that, I don't know, it came across just a bit like, I don't want to say cheesy, but sort of thing. But I totally get it now. I actually totally get it. And like you said, someone for myself who hasn't done Umrah, would I now feel bad in doing Umrah and then playing a bit of golf? No, I wouldn't. It's look, it's another way of saying Allah's found a way for me to go and do
Umrah. And the fact that you haven't been, if I'm honest, you'd almost be my ideal person, right? And because, let's say selfishly, I would want the Sadaqah Jariyah, that if you were to come and perform Umrah, because of the MGA, right, and it just happens to be that excuse, then I'm all for it, right? And selfishly, I would want the ajr. And I just pray that Allah keeps us sincere, and I pray that Allah will take you before, but definitely bring you with the NGA, right, in February 2026. And that's what it's about. And like I said, I will introduce you to a whole world of people, inshallah, that you'll be just like, wow.
And yeah, inshallah. And I think, the other thing is, like, sometimes, like you said, when you're hooked into golf, and all of a sudden, by default, your family are hooked into you being hooked into golf, because they're like, you're planning shopping trips, you're planning certain holidays, you're planning certain, things around. But one thing that they're probably never ever going to say no to is, actually, you're going to go and play golf in Saudi, because you're also going to go on Umrah. No wife, any, God-fearing wife isn't going to stop you from doing that sort of thing. If anything, she'll probably
Can you imagine? You come home, and look, let's be honest, right? It's hard enough trying to pray 5 times a day, right? I get that, but just imagine now that you come home and you're like, I think I'm going on Umrah, and she or he's going to look at you and be like, what? Where did that come from? He's like, yeah. By the way, I'm going to go play golf, and it's going to be like, what? But okay, all right, and that's exactly deliberately why it was designed, and the trip will be designed for spouses and families to come together, and inshallah we will grow this year upon year. And I keep getting asked, will you do a ladies version? Absolutely, but I just my only caveat is, let me just prove this concept works. Let me just prove logistically we can give people an unbelievable experience, because this is not a light matter. It's easy in theory, but for me, each individual, it's a special case. And if you've never been, I never want your first time to be a negative experience. So everything's got to be perfect, which is why we've partnered with one of the region's most leading travel organization called Al Musafir, who are the TUI or the Kioni of the Middle East, if not better. And so we are creating an experience that will last for you a lifetime. And inshallah, no doubt there will be some slips on the way. But if we get this right, then we'll open the gates for our sisters, our mothers, and our daughters to come and experience something that truly is unbelievable, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. That brings me nicely to, so you mentioned, obviously, sisters getting involved. Now, recently, or you've been on Sky Sports,
Yeah,
the documentary on Sky Sports, where they highlighted, I think you had a golf day where women sisters came. I saw the video. I've seen sisters in hijab, seen sisters in abayas, taking a golf swing, and some of them, mashallah, very, very good. I was looking at it, I was thinking, wow, I wish I could have swung and hit an iron like they did.
yeah,
Talk me through that day, talk me through that
yeah,
coverage, and talk me through, that vision of, okay, actually, how many Muslim sisters are there that actually
yeah.
want to get into golf?
So you saw what the inspiration for the men's side was, right? And
Yeah.
the evolution was then inspired by my wife, because my wife wears an abaya hijab, and I've got a little boy, and we always talk about sport. And I thought, why is it you don't play? And it really came down to accessibility, and it's not until you start really empathizing and understanding what it's like to be the other side that you won't really appreciate it. And so when I looked at all the sports, for example, for her to go swimming, she could only go on a ladies only day. It's a certain day, time, place, right? And if my son's not well or she has an appointment, she has to miss that session and wait the following week. You and I, bro, we can go whenever we want, right?
Yeah.
So swimming is fully accessible to us, not to them. Looking at football, cricket, rugby, dressed as she was, no chance, right? Because you've got to find a ladies only session, you've got to be at a certain time, and there's too many parameters. I then saw a lady on TikTok. She was wearing this really beautiful white wedding dress. She was at a driving range, and bro, she was smashing balls for fun, right? Amazing swing. And I thought, if you could do that wearing the most uncomfortable dress you'll probably wear your whole life, if we now get a woman wearing full niqab, surely she can hit a golf ball. And so I had this idea that we've got to take it out to Muslim women. I was then very fortunate enough to be introduced to a chap called Alistair Spink, who runs an organization called LIV Golf, who'd been involved in the industry for 30 odd years and was now championing the case for women golfers. Because guess what? White women had stopped playing golf and had actually lost all interest. It was a losing market. And why? And you realize this is that golf is designed purely through the eyes of a man for a man. And so women are given very much a second consideration. So he had this very unique methodology, which was very simply put, that if you're going to learn golf, you've got to learn it on the golf course, right? You do it in every other sport. Why not golf? Rather than just standing on a driving range and hitting balls, let's take that learning theory onto the golf course. So I thought, if I was ever going to teach golf, that's how I would teach it. So I said, let's take that theory, let's take it to the Muslim women and community and see what happens. And so I came to your hometown. We chose Stonebridge of all the places, and why? Because we had a phenomenal coach called Hannah Crump, and I said, let's do this. And like the men, I launched on WhatsApp, and in 12 hours, bro, I had 40 women sign up and say, yeah, I'll try golf. And I'm thinking, okay, this is nuts now, right? This is clearly more than just luck. We then gave them a 2-hour golf experience, the MGA way, and these women came back and said to me, that was amazing. We thought only old white rich men play golf. It's really hard, but fun. How do I do it again? I've just met so many new people. These women were bouncing. We had to almost kick them out because the time had run out. I thought, okay, maybe we got lucky. I did it a further 2 times. I got the same feedback, and I thought, subhanAllah, we are really onto something here, right? The following year, then I said, right, we've got to take this as far as we can, okay, as possible. We ended up going from Surrey to Scotland, and we had 1,200 Muslim women sign up and say, I will play golf. It was all done organically grown, word of mouth, through WhatsApp. And what we found was this was just a phenomenal experience. It was, instead of just going out and eating or cinema or whatever it was, this was a sport where you're in beautiful places, in beautiful clubhouses. They're learning a skill with other women. It's just a really good day out. And that's all golf is. It's just great bonding time with people that you like. They were meeting new people and good food. You've got to put food in it, right? Yeah. We gave them great food. And it's just grown ever since. I then wanted to see, could I export that internationally? I did the same thing in Dubai. And then, alhamdulillah, I got a chance to go and do that to America. So the women's side for me is super important. And as I said, it's a non-contact sport. We've proven a woman in full niqab can play. If she can play, then anyone else is fair game. You get your 10,000 steps in. You're being outside. It's a generational game. We need to get women active, right? And it really is a great way to keep them mentally, physically active. And you can play with any ability. And I just want to show the world and say, just be. And it's not going to be for everybody, but we've shown that most people like it and they don't.
Alhamdulillah. No, that was great. I mean, I saw the documentary, I saw the footage on Sky Sports, and I was just like, wow. And like you said, you can resonate because at the moment, I've not even had the conversation with my wife to see if she wants to play golf. But one thing she has said is, because I've obviously gone back and said to her, look, when I play on my own, I'm getting those 10,000 steps in. She actually said, look, next time you play in the summer and the weather's nice, I just come with you, and I just want to come just for the walking, just for that experience. Yeah. And that's where, like you said, the health benefit comes in. I always find it, yes, I could play rubbish. I may well probably play rubbish, but the other benefit is I've relaxed, I've got a nice peaceful mind. I've done my 10,000 steps. I feel healthy. And I don't feel bad afterwards having a burger or some halwa or whatever, because I know loads of calories, and it'll just balance out. So no, that's really, really.
My only advice would be, don't teach her golf. Don't you teach her golf? Okay, just don't. If you want her to enjoy it, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, all right, just keep it still. I know it's really difficult, okay, but I've seen relationships go really sour, right? Let's get her a coach. Let's get her involved in the women's program, right? And I promise you, she'll probably be better than you, because you'll be probably too arrogant to take lessons, okay? Because you think I can do this myself. But we'll get her on that path, and we'll get her hitting that ball flasher than you. But just enjoy it. And all I would say is that, inshallah, when you go out on those walks, I mean, it's quality time. And I know it sounds really, really silly, but in today's day and age, when we don't have quality time, right? And I'm a sucker for it. My wife cusses me for it all the time. But just going out and spending that hour with them, and even though you're hitting balls, but in between your shots, that's cool time. That's cool time. And you can't do that in any other sport. And we can get your kids involved.
Yeah, no, inshallah. I'd love my daughter to get involved. I think that'd be amazing. Amir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire some very quick fire questions at you.
Sure.
And then we'll inshallah wrap up. So I know you mentioned earlier, you said you've got a 16 handicap. Well, what is your current handicap at this moment in time?
It's 9. It's 9.
9. Okay. Is that the best that you've got it at, or what's the best?
I think the best probably been is maybe 8 something. But I promise you, I don't play as much. Right, I'm not even a member of a golf club. I've given up the privilege of chasing my handicap, because my life is now the MGA. Right, yeah. I now play purely for pleasure. Whereas before I was really competitive. I really wanted to see how low I could get. But now it's a privilege when I play. But yeah, nine's probably about right. Okay, I have good days, which aren't that often, but more bad days.
Marsha, that's good. Okay, what's your favorite type of shot? So is it the driver? Is it the chip shot? Is it a long putt?
It changes. It's seasonal. At the moment, I'm so into my chipping. And my biggest tip would be short game. I'm so into my chipping. I just feel confident. I love it and everything about it. I have a very much love-hate relationship with my driver. I hate it more than I love it at the moment. It's the most frustrating club because when you get it, it's the best club in the bag, but it's the worst club in the bag because it sets your hole up. It sets your round up. If I drive well, I'm playing well. But at the moment, I think my favourite shot is probably chipping 10, 15, 20 yards in.
I think for me, Armour, right, the one shot that gives me real joy, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I've just done that, is on a par 3. It's a 6 or a 7 iron off the tee, and it's just gone, woo, it's gone high, and it's just landed on the green, and it's landed. And I think that shot probably gives me the most satisfaction when it comes on. Comes on.
Oh, hitting iron shots, and par 3 can be sometimes the hardest. But yeah, there's beauty in all golf shots, right? Even some of the hardest shots that you want to get around, and I think through a round of golf, there's probably only be a handful of shots that you will remember, right? And you will feel it as well because it was just felt so effortless. But like I said, it changes round to round, month to month.
Okay. What's the favorite course you played? You've obviously played many a course in many countries. The favorite you got?
I think there's 2, and one is in Turkey. It's called the Carrier. It's just breathtaking. Every hole is beautiful. I could roll that course up and put it anywhere in the world, and I'd be a happy man. And the one that comes a very close second is one called LIV in Mauritius. And the only reason it's special is you have to take a boat, and it's to an island, and the whole island is only designed for a golf course. Wow. And when you go off the rough, you're in white sand with clear blue skies, and you've got catamarans in the distance. And I think someone said it was a case of, I think that's when you've probably peaked in life. And I think playing there was just incredible. So those are probably my 2. I know you said 1, but I think those are 2 that if I could pick up and put in my pocket, I would.
Fair enough. That sounds amazing. That actually does sound amazing. Have you ever got a hole in one?
No, never. But someone on our recent trip when we went to Turkey, he was the first one that ever got a hole in one at the MGA. His name's Asif, and he got it on a par 3, and it was it was great to see. So he's bugging me to commemorate it, but I personally no, I haven't. You always think you come close, and then you realise that you were miles away. So
that's the thing. It's quite deceiving sometimes.
It is very deceiving.
Yeah, you think, oh, that's a nice little putt, but it's
and it's the hope that kills, right? Because you walk up with anticipation, you're like, "Chalo, I might get something." Again, then you're like, "Oh, I bet stay
quiet." And lastly, I suppose bit of personal advice for me, but anyone listening who's probably started out the golf, what would you say is the best way for them to bring down their handicap if they are obviously quite competitive and wanted to bring down their handicap?
There's multiple ways. I think just a couple of pieces of advice.
Yeah.
Keep your arrogance and your ego at home. Okay. It's one of the most hardest games in the world. Get a coach, invest in a coach. That's the quickest way to bring your handicap down. Okay. And it's a bit like driving instructor. Okay. There's loads of good coaches out there, but it's one that gets you, that you resonate with. Okay. And they'll all relatively teach you the same thing, but it's in their delivery. If you want to get down quicker, invest in a coach. And then it's like anything, practice. If you're playing more than you practice, you're probably not going to get better. And you will find that your best golf will come when you're practicing more. So if you played 3 times a week, as hard as it is to say, I would say 2/3 of that needs to be practice. Even if you're teeing off at 12 o'clock, get to the golf course at 10, half 10. Spend an hour and a half warming up and just practicing, right? You will find that when you go and play, you will have a better game. You'll be in more rhythm because it's a game of touch. It's not even like cricket where you could pick up a bat and, get your eye in very quickly. Golf will punish you and you've got to respect it. And all you've got to do is respect the golf course. But if you don't practice, it's like with anything, you will lose it and it becomes more infuriating. And just keep your ego and your arrogance in check. All right. And you will enjoy it. Play to your handicap. If you're 26, 36, whatever it may be, all right, hit those numbers first before you start thinking. And everyone thinks they're better than they are. But hit your handicap first and then work your way down. And enjoy it. Genuinely enjoy it. Life's too short. You're out. You could have been at work. You're playing with your mates. You're on a golf course. There's no better place to be. So just enjoy that moment.
100%. 100%. All right, moving forward. So what's next for the MGA? I mean, for me, what I would love is going to a golf course, and actually it's Muslim friendly. By Muslim friendly, I mean is that on the menu in the clubhouse, if we go, that it's not just bacon rolls and sausage rolls, but there's a halal selection. That if I wanted to ask someone in the clubhouse, do you have a room to that I just need to go and pray, that's catered for. I mean that's the vision for here, but is that also the vision for the MGA? What are you looking to kind of really bring forward in the next couple
Sure.
of years?
I think that's not the vision. That's probably part of our education journey, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting or asking every golf club to do halal food and have a prayer room in there, right? You'll get that in a Muslim country, understandably. But that's not the reason why MGA was set up. Part of it is educating, right? So when we're looking at golf clubs that are in predominantly high areas of Muslim population, then absolutely, because from an economic perspective, they are losing out to a huge audience, right? So we will go and educate and work with them and tell them how to deal with Muslim customer. But more importantly, my vision is to, like I said, is to spread golf as far and as wide as we possibly can. Inshallah, we're going back to America this year. So we're just in the process of expanding the race to Makkah. We're taking it to Florida. So we're going to be in Florida, inshallah, in October, November time. We're just organizing some sort of courses out there. And then for 2026, we're going to be in South Africa. We're going to be in the UK. We're going to be in America. And then places like Pakistan, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And we will continue to grow and grow and grow. And I want to get to a situation where we've got 30, 40 countries on the MGA roster. Now, not only will we have, inshallah, the world's largest amateur golf series. And by the way, we have 3 handicaps on that. So it's not just for the better golfer. That's 0 to 8, 9 to 15, 16 to 24. Everybody can win. But besides just doing an amateur men's series, in each country, we will go and devise a program where we will get women, children, and those with disabilities playing golf within our Muslim community. And we want this to become a part and fabric of their life. So kids grow up with the confidence, the professional skills, and the golf skills to be able to interact in those societies. Families are healthier and better. And inshallah, this will become the legacy. And this will be a unifying platform that brings those, inshallah, movers and shakers together under the love of Islam and golf.
Inshallah. Lastly, how can people get involved? So obviously anyone listening to this, and when we share this out, they want to know more about the MGA and the Muslim Golf Association. How can they get involved?
Yeah, very simple. Go to the website, muslimgolfassociation.com, sign up to the mailing list, and we're always looking for help. But there you'll see information about our tournaments, getting to golf classes through men, through women, our schools program that we're doing with Muslim schools, our disability program. We're on Instagram, Muslim_golf_association. So please give us a follow. And get in touch, right? I'm available to speak to anyone, anytime about anything golf related. I'm always interested. So feel free to reach out. There are no silly questions, and give it a try. That's all I would say. So when you see a taster session, You've got nothing to lose. You might be pleasantly surprised.
100%, 100%, and I can advocate. I can advocate for that as well. Give it a go. I was very, very skeptical about golf, and I think those who are close to me now will just be saying, "Umar, your life's just changed. It's just golf, golf, golf." And like you said, anyone who just mentions golf, excuse me, anyone who just mentions golf, so we're all over it. I'm all over it. We got conversations. I've had people walk away from the conversation thinking, "Oh my God, you're talking about golf again," sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Ahmed, alhamdulillah, really, really appreciate you coming on today. It's been
No, my pleasure.
Honestly, I could carry on. I could carry on talking for this.
Likewise.
Really,
Well, we'll
really
carry on the golf course, right? So next time we meet, we'll be somewhere green, inshallah.
100%, 100%, inshallah. And listen, the vision that you've got, the intentions that you got, I pray that inshallah Allah makes it easy for you, that Allah makes success for you, that those who are into golf or through golf, if it means through golf that you're being close to your Deen, you're being close to Allah, then make that a massive success for you. And really, really appreciate your time today.
Likewise, thank you for having me. See you soon, inshallah.
Brothers and sisters, Jazakallah khair for listening to the first episode, which no doubt you will have found inspiring and valuable. You can listen again, inshallah, on our YouTube channel or on our podcast platforms by searching for Muslim CEOs. All our links are listed per episode, and you can also visit the website muslimceos.com for further details about the Muslim CEO Collective. Remember to follow and connect Muslim CEOs on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok and Twitter. Please do leave us a comment if you enjoyed the episode and if you have any questions. Until next time, remember us in your du'as, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us steadfast and put barakah in our health and in our wealth. Ameen and assalamu alaikum.